Hi, this is Mrs. Schultz, and this video is about the Byzantine Empire. It's a little bit of an introduction to the empire. I'll have you stop at a few places in the video to do some activities. They're all located on your website. I also have some notes for this slide that go with the slideshow. If you would like some guided notes to fill in while you're watching, you can do that, but it's not a requirement. And those are also on the website with this assignment. So the Byzantine Empire is also known as the Eastern Roman Empire, and we'll be looking at the accomplishments of the empire today. Here are some fashions, women's outfits from the time during the empire, and men's fashion during the time of the Byzantine Empire. You can see some of the different headdresses and things that they used at that time. I sort of like them. So the Byzantine Empire. The Byzantine Empire outlasted the Roman Empire, the Western Roman Empire. So we'll talk about them as the Western Roman Empire and the Eastern Roman Empire. Outlasted the Western Roman Empire by 1,000 years. So the Eastern Roman Empire we knew fell in the 400s. And here's just a map of some of the various invasions of Rome that came from different places all over Europe, and the location of the Eastern Roman Empire and the capital, which was then known as Constantinople. Constantinople was, as you can see in this map, easily defendable because it was surrounded by water, which provides a natural barrier to a city. It's harder to attack a city from water than it is from land, for example. So it was called originally the city of Byzantium, and it was renamed Constantinople. It had excellent geography that was easily protected with a really good harbor, so trade was easy. It was easy for them to make money and engage in commerce with other societies, and it was a crossroads for trade because of its location. I was lucky enough to have a chance to visit Constantinople. Today it's called Istanbul, and it's in the country of Turkey. And I had a chance to have a little vacation there for about 5 days when I lived in the Middle East. And here are just a few of my pictures. I'll sort of scatter them through the slideshow here, but this one is in the Bosphorus Strait. This is a picture of the Blue Mosque right over here and the Hagia Sophia, and we'll get to those in just a second. So the Bosphorus Strait actually separates two continents. So we walked across this bridge, and if you go across this bridge, you're going from Europe over here to Asia over here, and it also separates the Sea of Marmara from the Black Sea. Just a little food picture because I like food pictures. This is one of the super famous Turkish foods. This is baklava, and with some just drizzled in honey and pistachios and all kinds of yumminess. So what I'd like you to do right now is go to the assignment underneath this one. I think it's assignment 10, but I can't remember. It's your Constantinople map assignment. And if you would use the map on the worksheet to complete, and just pause this video and come back when you're done, you're going to turn that worksheet into me, please. Okay. Just a couple more pictures so you can sort of see the beauty of this place. This is called the Blue Mosque, and you can see it has several minarets here. This is an old Egyptian structure here inside the Blue Mosque, and again, Egyptian because Istanbul is really a crossroads for culture too. Inside the Blue Mosque, you can see it's just absolutely stunning. It is in use as a mosque today by people who practice the religion of Islam, Muslims. Again, inside the Blue Mosque, you can see up here all the beautiful stained glass in the walls. Okay, what I'd like you to do right now is just this is going to take about 25 minutes, but it's super entertaining. It's a Rick Steves video, and if you aren't familiar with him, he writes travel guides and also has TV shows where he goes to different places. In the beginning, you'll see him in a Turkish bath, and I had a chance to take advantage of a Turkish bath while I was there, although I didn't hire somebody to scrub me down like he did, but you go in there separated by men and women, and he'll show you that whole process too. But this is really entertaining. It's 25 minutes. It'll give you a really good feel for Istanbul and a little bit of the history and what the city looks like. So watch this and then come back for the rest when you're done. Okay, so we're going to talk now about Justinian, who was the most famous leader of the Byzantine Empire. He ruled from 527 to 565 and wanted to revive the glory of Rome. So he conquered some of the former Roman territories and held absolute power over church and state. So he was a dictator, but he had a lot of really positive accomplishments. He wrote a body of civil laws and a reference guide called Justinian's Code that had a huge influence later on European law, which would in turn have an influence on the laws of the United States at their formation. There were four parts to the code. They used 5,000 Roman laws that they found still useful. So he codified the laws, meaning he collected, revised, and organized them into this thing we now call Justinian's Code. He wrote summaries from Rome's greatest thinkers on the law and really wrote a textbook for law students called the Institute. And any new law was any legislation made after 534 CE. So there's actually a primary source document I want you to do on Justinian's Code that will give you some really good background about the code and let you read some of the different laws in it. And this is a picture I took, by the way, inside the Hagia Sophia, which was a Catholic church turned into a mosque. So this is why we see Jesus here. Okay, so take a minute to do the code activity, which is another assignment below, and turn that in, and then come back and finish when you're done. We're also just briefly a little bit about Empress Theodora, who ruled with her husband. She was his wife. She was raised in poverty, became an actress, and eventually the most powerful woman in Byzantine history. She met with foreign envoys and leaders and helped to pass laws. So she was almost a co-ruler with her husband. She also protected women's rights in Byzantium. So under Justinian, they heavily fortified the capital, Constantinople. There were lots of public works like aqueducts, baths, courts, schools, and hospitals. And they built the Hagia Sophia. I'm going to show you some pictures of that with its onion dome, the most splendid church in all of the Christian world at the time. So here's a picture of the Hagia Sophia. It's sort of a painting rendering from the time. And here. The Hagia Sophia, here's some interior pictures. So again, it was built originally as a Catholic church, turned into a Muslim mosque. And so you see a lot of the Arabic calligraphy in here, along with some of the old Christian icons and pictures here. There's my husband, and our daughter, who's now 11, was super tiny at the time. The top of the Hagia Sophia, they're doing lots of restoration and excavating of old paintings and stuff there. Jesus. Okay, there's a little worksheet on the Hagia Sophia to get a little bit more information about it. This one's short. I'll complete that below and then come back. Again, turn that one in too when you're done. Okay, expansion of the empire. So the Byzantine Empire at the time that Justinian came to power was the area in purple here. And by the end of his reign, it included some of this area in orange. Cordova is famous for, I can't think of it right now, the name of the place. I went to see it. But it's an old Arabic influenced mosque. And lots of influence from the Eastern Roman Empire in some of these places as well, at least for a while, especially in southern Spain. So the Christian church became more divided into officially in something called the Great Schism. This is a schism between the practices of the Christian church in Rome and the practices of the Christian church in Istanbul or Constantinople. The Eastern Roman Empire again versus the Western Roman Empire. So differences emerged in the church regarding the leader, who should be pope, the location of the sort of main branch of the church, which of course the Romans wanted in Rome, the language that they spoke, the lifestyle of the priests, the use of icons, and I'll show you those in a minute, in the church. And because of this, the church split in two. It's still split in two. It's called the Great Schism, and it occurred in 1054. And it brought us two new churches, the Greek or the Eastern Orthodox Church and the Roman Catholic Church. Religious icons are used by the Eastern Roman Empire or the Orthodox Church. They're Christian religious images used by Christians for devotion, and they're thought to connect the believer to the image in the icon. So icons are painted; they're often flat paintings like this, so there's not perspective. And then you see them. You see people sometimes with the kind of halo, the circle around their heads. Here's more Byzantine icons here. I had a chance to attend an Orthodox church service in Moscow in Russia, and there were lots of icons set up around the church, and people would walk into the church and kiss the glass outside the painting of the icon. Everybody did that when they came in. And they also stood in church and to listen to the priests, and they came and went. So if any of you have attended Christian church in the United States, then you know that people come and they stay for a service and they sit and they listen, and they don't do that there. They stand and come and go as they please. And the priests, they sing and they chant and they preach, and it was a really interesting experience. Here's some more Russian icons here. So some differences between the two churches. They both base their faith on the gospel of Jesus in the Bible, and they use sacraments like baptism. Their priests and bishops are their leaders. In Eastern Orthodox religion, services were conducted in Greek or local languages. The patriarch and other bishops head the church. The emperor claimed authority over the patriarch and the bishops. Priests could be married. This is a huge difference. And divorce was allowed under certain conditions. In the Roman Catholic Church, priests may not marry still today. Divorce is not permitted. Today it's a little bit different, but they don't love it. Services conducted in Latin. The Pope has authority over all the bishops, and the Pope claims authority over all kings and emperors. So that was a big difference. The Pope had a lot more authority in Rome. Here you can see a map of this would be more Eastern Orthodox, including today's Russia and Turkey and some areas into Central Asia, and Western Europe all the way over through Poland, etc. was Roman Catholic. So Christianity divided into Roman Catholic and Eastern Orthodox, and that split occurred in 1054. And then the Roman Catholic Church further split into the Roman Catholic and Protestant religion, which would happen in the early 1500s. So the Byzantine Empire gradually started to decline after Justinian around 600 and would continue to decline over the next 600 years. There were barbarian invasions from the north, Arab Muslim invasions from the south, the Crusades to retake the Holy Lands that also eventually defeated Constantinople. We'll skip that. So Constantinople was first sacked or sort of defeated in the Fourth Crusade in 1204, and the Ottoman Empire, led by 21-year-old Sultan Mehmed II, laid siege to the city in 1453. The Ottomans finally took the city after 7 weeks, and they renamed it Istanbul and changed it to a Muslim Arab city. And here's just a painting of that. So, but what did we get from the Byzantine Empire? They preserved the Greek and Roman traditions, including the Greek language. They built libraries. They wrote Justinian's Code. And scholars fleeing Istanbul at the time it was sacked, or Constantinople at the time it was sacked by the Ottoman Empire, helped start the Renaissance in Italy by bringing their knowledge with them. We see this as just an example from Eastern Orthodox religion. They use the onion dome at the top of their churches. This is one of the most famous, St. Basil's Cathedral in Moscow. So here's just an interesting postscript. Mehmet II's next conflict, so he was the one that sacked Constantinople, was with Vlad the Impaler, who we know now as Dracula, who's somewhat fictitiously, but he was a real person. Dracula was based on a real person called Vlad the Impaler, and he refused to pay tribute to the Ottoman. So Vlad, the Turkish envoys who went to visit him and try to get him to fall under their control, he had the Turkish envoys' turbans nailed to their heads for refusing to raise their hats to him, but his brother allied with the Ottomans and helped defeat him in 1462. Okay, thanks. Finish the notes and turn those in if you want. But again, that's not necessary.